want to take? Who wants to volunteer? I'm going to take a volunteer for
I got.
this one.
I was
Who
gonna
wants to go
go.
next?
Yeah.
Because I think mine is similar to him in a way, but in a similar in how they carry themselves. But Joe Rogan is the one I was gonna do. So I don't know if
Nice.
you guys ever, if you guys saw, but recently Spotify just announced like they just made a killing with Joe Rogan. Like it just got
Just
announced.
got his earnings in or whatever.
Yeah, it was a crazy amount of money, right? And Spotify took a big chance on him, and vice versa, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
him,
say the
yeah,
opposite.
I would
right?
say the
Like, he was
opposite.
yeah.
earning-
Well,
yeah.
I would say for Spotify too, because you look about how much money they had to invest in him off the bat to get him to be secluded, to isolate to that you know what I mean? Like, and that's a lot of
Wasn't
money
it
up
But
front.
with Joe
Mhm.
Rogan, like the return's going to be there, right?
Yeah, I guess like there's less risk, but I
It's just like Howard
imagine
Stern.
I bet money though. Like even Joe Rogan was like coming hot with that money. He's like, hey, I want a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
YouTube
it's like,
is huge. Like people switching platforms that's a big deal.
yeah, because that's a big thing
And
that I
being
think
exclusive,
about.
yeah,
Because
sure.
I watch I've been listening to podcasts for the last, I think about the last 5 years, and I always go to Apple, right?
Mm.
But Joe Rogan would go to Spotify. I didn't even think twice.
Wow.
Literally like moved, and honestly
says
because
something.
of that, actually Spotify did a kudos to Spotify too. I've been listening to other podcasters on Spotify now, also because we are on Spotify.
Hey, Spotify.
But
Yeah.
Hey, we'll switch platforms.
That's a good one, buddy.
Spotify.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
We're basically like Joe Rogan.
maybe,
Didn't
yeah,
even have
yeah.
to tee him up for that.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, that was. He's
We
our
almost
marketing, he's
have
our marketing
Look
guy.
at, I was
You
looking at
gotta
the
make
wrong
that drink
camera.
stronger. You gotta make that drink stronger next time, okay?
Yeah. But that's what it takes.
Cross-eyed.
No
yeah.
lemonade, only rum.
Yeah. Like it'd be funny. You don't. It's like a placebo effect. You don't ever put any alcohol in it, and I'm still like just getting sauced.
Oh man.
What I like about Joe Rogan, and I mean everybody, no introduction, but Joe Rogan has the Joe Rogan experience, but Fear Factor, UFC. I mean, there's so many different stand-up comedian, but so many different avenues that he has, revenue streams coming in from, and I can imagine he's a heavy investor on top of it.
He was only a co-host, by the way, on UFC when he first started.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Is like it's amazing what markets he's in. But what I would say, because and I'm gonna make this short and sweet, but what I liked about him the most is going off of what I've learned about Joe Rogan and why I think, and you could apply this to like The Rock too, because I think about The Rock as well,
Yeah.
is that they're very likable and then they're willing to just take chances like on everything. Like the Rock has said that, but Joe Rogan will take chances on everything, and then he's very likable, like where he gives people safe places to speak their mind. He speaks his mind too, and sometimes it's not appreciated by the media or a group of people. But he always, when he lets people on, he's very good about letting people speak their mind, and like I think that's so important for our world, not just from a business standpoint, because I think he's almost like going against the grain on his approach right now, especially where people are taking more of a side on on politics and stuff. And so I feel like he's doing a really good job at letting people speak what they need, say what they need to say, and that's so important. And I think like it's such an opposite business strategy, and it's working, and it works too because they say things that potentially you can market a lot more.
Especially having both sides of the aisle on, and not just having one
He's free,
one viewpoint. He's having
Yep.
right people on the right, people on people on the far right, people on the left, people that are far left. He's having everyone on. He wants to hear their story and what they believe.
I mean, even we just said it, Edward Snowden, who's not even left or right? Like what he did was, some people are like, well, anti-American, and it's like more you read about him, and I've read his book recently, and but he has people like that on there.
Super American.
Yeah, well, yeah, depending on how you
look at it.
define democracy and all that. But
Right.
but going back to with in comparison to Gary is their ability to just kind of throw. I mean, business, especially in their shoes, like just throwing shit at the wall is like what most I feel like salespeople will do. What I've observed, but when you're especially doing your own business and you're an entrepreneur, like. I mean, that's what we're doing here. I mean, we're trying so many different things every week. You guys are on here. We're kind of just throwing shit at the wall and hoping, it attracts people to want to view us or appreciate our brand. And so I think applying that to the long live Junto, I think about people like Joe Rogan and Gary Vee too, like keeping it positive, keeping it about friends and fun, because a part of our mission, and then also, you know, the ethical side of things, where I think there's an ethical standpoint from Joe Rogan where acceptance is just such, I mean, we just talked personally before this, Goichi and I did, about, you know, not putting guilt on others, and how important acceptance is, and I think that's a good business strategy is acceptance. Like, acceptance is it's so rare, and I appreciate that from Joe Rogan. So I brought him up, but
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah,
He's a really good
That's a
example.
good example.